How are you guys? My name's Tyler Wyant. I'm the manager of Safety, Security, Emergency Management at St. Christopher's Inn. I just want to go over a few things with you guys. I'm not sure. Does anybody here know what Narcan is or naloxone or how it works at all? Okay, that's good. That's good. So Narcan, the kit Narcan, contains the drug naloxone. And what naloxone does is it completely reverses the effects of an opioid-related overdose. We use these kits, unfortunately, all the time at St. Christopher's Inn. And what it does is it completely reverses the effect by going into it goes into the brain in the nasal passage, and it pretty much takes out the opiates in the receptors in the brain, and it puts it into the brain and releases the naloxone and completely immediately reverses the overdose, which is pretty amazing. And it works, I mean, for the most part, it works instantly. Now with, I don't know if you guys know what fentanyl is. So fentanyl is 100 times more powerful than morphine. So now with fentanyl in heroin and apparently other drugs, now fentanyl's being put in cocaine and marijuana, is resulting in these high number of overdoses. So the old kits that we used to use contained about 4 times less of naloxone than they do now. So it can kind of give you an idea on, how powerful fentanyl is. So I just want to go over the beginning stages of when you arrive or find someone overdosing to using the kit and what to do afterwards. So when you come across a victim overdosing on heroin or any opiate, please keep in mind that these only work with opiate-related overdoses, no other drugs. So that would be like morphine, oxycodone, heroin, fentanyl. What you're going to do is check the person's breathing. They're going to have very, very slow breathing. They're going to have pinpoint pupils, blue lips, blue fingertips, fingernails, and pretty much gasping or gurgling for air. So what you're going to do, the first thing that I always tell my guys to do at St. Christopher's Inn is try to wake them up the best you can, right? Shake them, sternum rub for about 10 to 15 seconds. Try to get them awake or, to come to. If you can't, the very next thing you want to do is obviously call 911, have help on the way. If you can't call 911, have anyone nearby call 911, get the ambulance on the way. And the first thing you're going to do is grab the kit. Now, I just want to quickly show you what the kit is now. So this kit is a one-step process. All you're going to do is peel back the back layer and spray the spray. Now, the trigger, it's just like using Flonase or any nasal spray. The old kit, first, we used to use the needle. Then they moved to this old kit, which is also a nasal spray, but there were 3 or 4 pieces that you have to put together. And, in a situation like this, it's, very easy to forget what to do. So this is a one-step, very simple. What you want to make sure is the victim, that his head is tilted back, his or her head is tilted back when you spray the spray. Now, each spray has 4 milligrams of naloxone. The old nasal spray was 2 milligrams. So most likely, hopefully, you only need to use 1, but each kit comes with 2 nasal sprays, and it also has, if you pop open the front, it has step-by-step directions, excuse me, here on how to use the spray, just in case you completely forget, which is very likely in a situation like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to tilt their head back, make sure that you spray the spray in one of their nasal passages, doesn't matter which one, and wait around, I would say, 60 seconds. Now, you don't have to close off the other no, nostril. You don't have to. Also, if the victim doesn't come to right away, you want to wait around. I mean, they recommend 60 seconds, but it's going to seem like forever when this is happening. So I've used it as quick as 10, 15 seconds after the first one. But if you don't get any kind of response, or the victim wakes up right away, you can use the second one. Now, I get a lot of questions. How much can you use? Are you going to hurt them? Not at all. This, if I were to spray this in my nose right away, it wouldn't do anything at all. I mean, unless you're allergic to the drug and you wouldn't know unless you took it, but it would have no effect on someone that's not overdosing on opiates, heroin, morphine, codeine. So you can spray 2 at once. Unfortunately, one of the houses near St. Christopher's Inn had an overdose a few months back, and the gentleman that used the spray, was nervous, panicked, and used both, one right after the other. Doesn't make a difference. As long as you have it and you use it, that's all that matters. So what you're going to do is you're going to wait, I would say 60 seconds. The paper here, if you guys have it, says 2 minutes. It's a very, very long time to wait. They recommend you wait 2 minutes, but in a situation like that, like I said, 2 minutes is going to seem like 2 hours. And hopefully that, the victim comes to. So another question I get asked is, well, when they come back to, what to expect. You can expect anything. If you think about it, someone that's addicted to drugs that just overdosed, they're not going to be very happy. Even though you saved their life, they're not going to be very happy that you ruined their high. And this happens all the time. I've had a lot of my guys use Narcan on someone, and they are immediately not happy with you. But it is, I know, but it is what it is, right? So you can expect that, and you can expect them to be, when someone comes out of the overdose, they're not going to come and, come right away. They're going to be very groggy. What you want to do is put them in like a recovery position. So what a recovery position would be is you would lay them on their side with their hand under their head, with their mouth tilting towards the floor just in case they vomit or get sick. And you want to bend their knee over towards their chest. This way they don't roll over onto their stomach. Also, there's a few things. So depending on how strong the heroin was that they took, how much they took, how much fentanyl was in the heroin, you don't know that. All you're doing is trying to save their life. You don't know that, but they could go back into the overdose, depending on how much they used and depending how long it takes for help to come. So I want to say 30 minutes, it could wear off, the naloxone. So even though, you may have used both doses and did everything you could, they could go back into the overdose. But, every case is different, and I couldn't really tell you exactly what will happen. But as long as you used it properly, which, is all you can really do, and call 911 helps on the way. Does anybody have any questions? Please, because it's a lot, and it can be.
I have one.
Yeah,
So
please.
let's say you use both.
Sure.
Narcan. What if you had another one? Could you do another one?
Yeah.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so if you had another kit and you used both doses, so each kit comes with 2 doses. You have the 2 doses, you use the 2 doses, so 8 milligrams, which we have now. You have another kit. Can you use more? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter what kit. Like, I have an old kit here that I'm going to recycle and give back to the Harm Reduction Coalition. Let's say you did have an old kit on you. You used your one kit, and this is all you have. It's, the old kit. It's expired. It's only 2 milligrams of spray. It doesn't matter. It's still something that you can use. And They do lose their potency a little bit like any other drug, but it's better than nothing. You can use 16, 20, 24 milligrams on someone, and it's not going to hurt them. All it's going to do is at some point they're going to have enough in their system. It's going to do what it's going to do and not go any further from there.
There
Yeah.
is some concerns with temperature sensitivity, like keeping it in your car.
Absolutely.
Right, so
And
you
I,
have to keep-
I get asked that all the time. So as far as temperature goes, on the back of the box, it has somewhere in the instructions or on the back of the box, it has recommended temperatures. So don't store below this temperature or above this temperature. Women, I always suggest just keep one. I mean, even if you don't have the entire big bulky box or this bag in your pocketbook, even if you have one in your pocketbook to bring with you, it's better than nothing. But, definitely we don't recommend storing it in your car. I've had multiple people come back to me, I had this kit in my car, and I saw this guy overdosing, and I used the kit, and it worked. It will work, but it will lose potency just as the old kit does that expires. So the temperature definitely does affect it, but I personally would rather you have it, when you need it, than need it and not have it. But do not recommend keeping it in your car, especially it's 100 degrees out, and then you pull into your garage and it cools down right away, and then it gets really hot the next day. It's definitely not recommended. Please, yep.
Is the positioning crucial when you administer it? Someone's in a vehicle or something and you can't get them laying down?
Yeah, so the question was, is the positioning crucial? Like somebody is in a car, you can't get them to lay down. So it's funny that you say that, because unfortunately the overdose that we had a couple months ago, the gentleman was in his car. And the guy that administered the Narcan couldn't get him on his side, nor did he probably think about it, because in the moment, it's the last thing that you're thinking about. And all he did was spray the spray into the nose, and it worked. It's, on the paper, definitely recommended that you tilt their head back, spray the spray this way. It works to the best of its ability. However, you get it in there as quick as possible. It's better than doing nothing. Even if a little drips out, you still have the second spray. Even if you spray the second spray and a little drips out of the nose, which will happen. Somebody sitting upright, you spray the spray. A little bit may drip out, but at least you're getting most of the naloxone into the nasal cavity, and it's working. Any other questions? It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, the other.
Start breathing, the breathing.
Yeah. So on the back of the sheet, it mentions rescue breathing. So this would be a scenario where you administered the Narcan, whether it's one spray, two sprays, or whatever you have, or you didn't have the Narcan, let's say, and someone's overdosing, you would continue with a rescue breathing, CPR. And if you're comfortable with doing so, definitely recommend doing CPR. If you need to, I'm going to put the face masks in your kit. This way you have the face masks if you need to do CPR. If you have a face mask, always use the face mask. But yes, if you know how to do CPR, or, please, if it needs to be done, definitely do it. Any other questions? Like I said,
How many,
yeah, please.
how many trainings or presentations do you do a month?
So I do one training per month at St. Christopher's Inn. It's for the family program. So St. Christopher's Inn clients, they have family members come once a month, and I do a training for them, but it's also open to the public. So I don't have it with me, but I do have a flyer. I believe that Nancy has it, and I can get it to whoever needs it. I do one per month, definitely, and we're trying to reach out to the community to do as many trainings as possible, because, the Harm Reduction Coalition, they'll give me as many kits as I need. And on Monday, I'm starting to Narcan train every client that we have at St. Christopher's Inn. We have 183 clients. So, you know, if I can put one of these kits aside for every client that leaves St. Christopher's Inn, the more kits that's out in the public, the better. That's the whole point of the Harm Reduction Coalition, is get them out. So right now, one scheduled training per month at St. Christopher's Inn in Garrison, and I'm trying to do as many as possible.
Is there a
Thank
set
you.
day? When I did it a couple years ago, it was a Saturday.
Yeah, they're Sundays now, so it's I want to say it's either the second or third Sunday of every month, but it changes because it depends on when the family program is, and they try to have me do the training the last day of their family program is 3 days, 3 Sundays in a row. So they try to have me do it on the last Sunday. But I have a flyer with all the set dates, and it's open to anyone. I just got at least 20 students from Mount St. Mary College that's coming. They're coming this Sunday is actually the next training. So anybody that wants to attend, this Sunday is the 9th, I believe. It'll be at 2:30 at St. Christopher's Inn.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good, guys? Okay. Good? Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, if you'll join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start tonight's meeting, I'd like to observe a moment of silence in recognition of the 75th anniversary of D-Day, but also sending out our hearts and prayers to the victims at West Point today. It was a terrible tragedy there today, so if we could take a minute and think about that. Again, our prayers go out to the families and to the victims. It's just a tragic loss of life there today. Review of the minutes. Bid opening of May 2nd, 2019, Horton Road abutment repair. That's what it is.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Public hearing of May 2nd, 2019, local law on vape shops.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Public hearing of May 2nd, 2019, annual MS4 stormwater report.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Monthly town board meeting of May 2nd, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Weekly town board meeting of May 8th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Special town board meeting of May 14th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Before we go into the committee reports, I'm going to spare the family the torture of the committee reports. And we do have an honorary proclamation for Randall John Chiara, Jr., achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. I think it's just so appropriate on the 75th anniversary of D-Day to be presenting this to you. The family must be so proud of you. So if you could come up. I hope it stays put. We good, Seal? So you can't hear me.
Oh, well.
We have the proclamation from the town board, whereas the mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling the values of the Scout oath and law, and where Scouts achieve their ranking by fulfilling requirements in areas of leadership, service, and outdoor skills. And whereas Randall John Chiara Jr. of Philipstown Boy Scout Troop 437 has proven to be an outstanding member of the Boy Scouts of America, attaining the highest honor bestowed on a scout, the Eagle Scout Award. And whereas Randall earned the rank of Eagle Scout through his many contributions, most notable designing, constructing, and building a large brick repository where residents can place their worn American flags. The structure is 3 feet tall and of solid construction and will serve the residents of the community for the next 100 years. And whereas, in its first 2 months of completion, over 30 American flags were placed in the structure for proper retirement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Philipstown, on behalf of its residents, joins with Troop 437 in recognizing this bright and outstanding young man for his many accomplishments, and specifically for his receiving this prestigious rank of Eagle Scout as a Boy Scout of America. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's one of the most pleasant things we get to do, I will say that, so you must be very proud. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you. Let the torture begin. Committee reports, Conservation Board.
Okay, the Conservation Board met on May 21st. We had a discussion of the Open Space Institute, Glenwood. Neil Toman was there. This is a project that was ongoing. It has started obviously in 2017, and we really pretty much received an update from him regarding the different phases. Phase 1 is adding fill and riprap as part of an erosion control program, and Phase 2 is installing 4 parking spaces. So we're going to be following up with them and also acting upon, as we always do, under DEC directives. The next application was regarding this is an ongoing, this is 19 Lake Celeste Drive. This is what I would call, again, a grandfathered property. I think those that have attended meetings before know what I'm talking about. It means what we have to do here is we have a property that is within the 100-foot buffer wetland zones, depending on the houses, depending upon the structures of the property and different actions that take place there. In this case, they were looking for a renovation, an addition, and so forth. The house is 30% inside the wetland buffer. Pretty much we had a discussion goes by because you have to weigh a number of things here. You have to take a look at how far it's in, encroachments, but also what kind of soil disruption and percentages are going to occur. So after those discussions took place, they received a conditional wetlands permit upon agreement that they would install a rain garden to mitigate stormwater runoff. Again, because they are within it, they could have some potentials for a quick runoff to the streams and wetlands areas. Therefore, what we have to do is take measures to try to mitigate and compensate for that, and this is one of those. We also had on the agenda, as a repeat, was Lake Surprise. This is a follow-up. Unfortunately, the project engineer was not able to attend, so the meeting was limited. We couldn't get into a lot of deeper discussions. This was about a part of the program where they actually had, against the actual structure of the plan, put and placed a pipe within the 100-foot regulated area. And it caused, when you don't follow the plan, you do cause problems as far as water runoff and design and so forth, and its effect on other located areas. We did verify, as we've had discussions in the past, they had the rattlesnake monitor is on site during the actual construction. We talked about slowing the water with check dams. The Conservation Board also questioned ground sheet runoff, and it's because it was a belief based on the current design that that flow wouldn't in fact go through the piping, and of course that is critical to happen, so that was discussed as well. The Conservation Board did bring up rain gardens, and because to place them next to the swales, because right now there's only grass, and then obviously, again, there's a stormwater runoff, and you're always taking a look at trying to minimize that potential runoff. The actual updated drawings were sent to our town engineer, and those will be evaluated, and I would assume in the near future, their project engineer will come back for a further discussion. Also on the agenda was a couple that came in asking questions about a property. This is located right near the Bird and Bottle. These come up from time to time, and in fact, actually, some of the board members have mentioned this from some other issues that have happened. When you're going to purchase a property, it is very important that you go to the town, talk to the building inspectors, talk to the wetlands inspectors, get a feel for what you can do and not do. Too many times people buy properties, and in this particular case, there was an intermittent stream, and then all of a sudden they're realizing all of the impacts that can have as well, and why maybe the price is a little cheaper and so forth. So it's very important. Check out the zoning. What can you do? What can't you do? So it was a good educational process for them, and they did the right step by coming forward, coming to the Conservation Board and asking those questions, because that's what the board is about as well. So I encourage people to do that, as we have mentioned in the past. And our next meeting is June 11th.
Thank you, Mike. Recreation.
Good evening. The Recreation Commission met on May 28th. There was a workshop with Tim Donovan, who had proposed a community garden on a site, town property in Philipstown, and the chair of the Recreation Commission will be meeting in the future with Mr. Donovan. The commission and Mr. Donovan had discussed the need for some athletic fields as well, so they're still in discussions about the needs of the athletic community and also the community garden, and possibly coming up with an alternative proposal. So they will be meeting in the future regarding that site in Philipstown. The commission is also looking for volunteer contractors to do a kind of barn raising to try to finish the Philipstown Pavilion, which is something they've worked on for a while and raised funds through the Friends of Philipstown Recreation. So if there are any volunteers out there who would like to help with that, they would like to finish the pavilion in Philipstown Park. And finally, there's also discussion about a long-term vision for all of the athletic properties in Philipstown, and the commission is working on developing their vision for the future. So it was a very exciting meeting to talk and hear about ideas for the future of Philipstown's athletic fields and also the potential for a community garden.
Great. I just have one.
Yes.
The pavilion, I think it's mostly mechanical contractors that they're looking for, plumbing, electric.
Yes, they are looking for plumbing, electrician, and yes, to finish it.
I believe the structure itself is just about complete.
Is
I know there's
almost
some finishing
complete.
touches
That's
that need
right.
to go on,
That's right. But
but anybody that wants to help.
to help out with that.
Are there any funds available to pay anybody at all at this time?
In the budget, I think it wasn't budgeted. I think, there was an expectation. There are some people who have talked about volunteering.
If you haven't gone to see it, it's really an amazing building.
It is
And it
beautiful.
would be incredible if we could get it finished, and, just to have the bathrooms and so on.
Yes.
It's close, but it just
Yes.
needs
Yeah,
some,
well, it's like
yeah.
anything else, right? You get to the 10-yard line,
yeah.
Yes.
Gotta punch it in.
And we also finished the LED lighting at the Philipstown Recreation Center was
Nice
completed
job.
this week.
Wow.
So we've, a little photo passed around to the board, but that's a gymnasium. It's, the efficiency, the lighting efficiency was something that the board had supported to reduce the electricity that we consume and to also reduce the cost to the Philipstown. So we will save over $700 a month with the LED lights at the recreation center.
big savings.
That
Big
is,
savings.
yeah. And that was Councilwoman Farrell's initiative to take that on, so thanks a lot. That was
Welcome.
a great project, and I mean, just done like that.
Yep.
All right, Philipstown Communities That Care.
Philipstown Communities That Care Coalition had its last meeting on May 22nd, and at that time, a prevention needs assessment data report was given by Kristen McConnell from the Prevention Council of Putnam and Judy Mezzi from Student Assistance Services of Westchester. This report was also given at the Haldane Board of Education meeting the night before, and a similar presentation was given on May 21st for the Haldane community. This presentation can be seen by all the residents of Philipstown on the Haldane Board of Education's website. And I was at this meeting, and I encourage everyone to take a look at it. There are some interesting statistics about the survey that they did of Haldane students and their perceptions of the drug use and other issues in the community affecting the drug prevention efforts. And the Haldane community is working closely with the Philipstown Communities That Care Coalition. So we have a very close working relationship, and I want to just thank the Haldane staff and faculty for the work that they're doing, and the Prevention Council of Putnam, which did this needs assessment, which was much needed. Also, Daniel Pack McCarthy, who is our addiction resource coordinator, continues to see families and individuals who are struggling to find quality mental health and addiction resources. As you may know, Danielle can be reached right here in Philipstown, and she's also working to identify a peer specialist to support those in recovery through their process to help them make progress. And if that person is available for the Philipstown area, she would like to work with them. She's also written a letter to the local paper as a call for action in the community regarding reducing the shame and stigma associated with mental health and addiction issues. And one of the quotes in the letter that Danielle wrote really resonated with me and with others I've talked to, and that was about connections. If our youth have connections in the community and more people to turn to, including their peers, their teachers, their families, and others, that we can help prevent the crisis that is ongoing. And sad to say, we did lose another youth last week, so it's really critical and important work that Danielle is doing.
Yeah, I saw that in the paper today, an article.
Yes. Thank you, Judy. Planning Board.
Okay, the planning board, I attended the planning board on May 16th. Two things on the agenda. Oh, sorry about that. We're sharing microphones here, so apologize for that. Okay, I attended the planning board meeting on May 16th. There was two properties I reported on last month that were passed, but due to a technicality, they had to be re-voted on. They were the Buck project on Route 9D and the Juby Miranda project up on East Mountain Road. Anyway, there was a technicality with the paperwork. We had to re-vote on, and they both passed again. The next thing on the agenda was a Danielle Shubin and Mimi Fortunato, 359 East Mountain Road. I reported on this as well last month. There's a new application for a modest home in a garage on a pre-existing lot that normally wouldn't require to come to the planning board, but due to the ridge line running through the frontage of the property, those regulations specify a site plan as approval. The project was declared as a minor project. The project was referred to the ZBA for a rear yard setback and variance. The house will be located in the rear of the setback in order to provide regulated steep slopes. The owner right now is seeking to buy an additional piece of property from a neighbor. If he's successful in buying this additional piece of property, he won't have to worry about the setback, and most likely that's going to be probably resolved in the next 2 months or so. And if that's the case, it should go forward and there'll be no problems whatsoever. The Hudson Liner Reserve, I did report last month. As you know, this project's been almost four and a half years old now. But finally, as I reported last month, the board acknowledged the draft environmental impact statement. They acknowledged that last month. Also, this is a 1,000-page document that it's available to everybody, but at the library, and it's also online as well. But our town consultant from AKRF, and Steve Gaba considered it to be completed. Many members of the planning board themselves agree that's completed. They may not agree with all the content that's in there as well. So there'll be a public hearing next month at the planning board meeting on June 20th at 7:30. There'll be, as of right now, there's only planning having one public hearing that evening. Depending on how many people show up and how long it takes, they may have to extend it. But anyone can do written comments within the 10 days, which would be June 30th. As I indicated, the next planning board is June 20th. End the report.
Thanks, Bob. Zoning.
Oh, I was unable to attend the zoning board meeting due to a conflict, but the next meeting will be Monday, June 10th, and I'll give a 2-month report at next month's meeting.
We can't wait.
I bet.
Highway.
Highway, Philipstown Town Board members from Carl Brazenda. We had him in the audience. He must have took off on us. The highway crews have been out busy grading and filling in potholes as quickly as possible in order to get them back in shape. Please have patience with us as this does not happen overnight. Continuous rains mean we must return to those spots in the road where washouts have occurred. The crews are working to the best of their ability to complete these routine projects while dealing with new work that comes up. Crews continued to sweep the roads of salt, sand, leaves, and other debris until the rented sweeper was returned mid-May. They also continued clearing pipes and waterway. A water truck was rented for the month to assist with road work while our truck is being fixed. The Highway Department replaced a storm drain pipe that was deteriorated on East Mountain Road South on May 8th. It was necessary to close the road for a short time, and all coordination with the residents of the road and school buses, etc., went smoothly. The pipe work had to happen before paving could occur later in the summer. With the arrival of spring and summer, more children will be outside playing near the roadways. As a safety precaution, we ask everyone to be aware of their surroundings, slow down on the roads, and obey the speed limit and other posted traffic signs. Highway personnel are out removing dead trees, brush, and trimming bushes to ensure we do not destroy your shrubs, plants. Make sure they are not hanging on or over the town roads, or the crews will be forced to remove for the safety of motorists. We would like to acknowledge the fact that our phone system has been down for 2 weeks this month at no fault of the Highway Department. The phones have been a constant thorn in our side every time it rains. We are working with Verizon and their middleman Magna 5 to correct the problem, and in the meantime, calls have been forwarded to our cell phones. If you have a complaint, please email us at highwaydepartment@philipstown.com. The bid for the Horton Road Bridge Abutment Project was awarded to Landworks Excavating Incorporated. Work is expected to begin soon. We are starting to level up the following roads in preparation for paving sometime in July. East Mountain Road North from the dam to number 431, East Mountain Road South to number 260 to Route 9, and the remainder of Aqueduct Road and Mountain Drive in Continental Village. For May, the Highway Department received approximately 40 phone calls, I guess while the phones were working,
Well, they got the cell phones.
regarding road complaints and issues. Roughly $7,400 was spent on vehicle maintenance and repairs for the month of May.
Hey, regarding that phone, Carl called me about it as well. I looked into it, I got it resolved relatively quick after I got involved. But anyway, I'm in the process of seeing if we can get a different phone.
Carrier.
Well, I'd like to try to get a voice over IP phone up there from Optimum Online. I was working with Maureen. She just needs to get a static IP address. Once I have that, I can make the phone call and get them off Verizon and have a more reliable phone system up there, because, they've been having problems for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, thanks. All right, building and land, we're meeting with the architect on Tuesday,
The
right?
architect, engineer, and the attorney. This should be the last meeting, and the plans should be ready to go out to bid.
So then we'll get it out to bid. What time are we meeting, 4 o'clock?
I'll check the email, I'm not 100%
All right.
sure.
All right, that's for the town hall renovation project. We'll be putting that out to bid before the end of this month. Butterfield Library.
I didn't receive a report.
Oh, I received a report.
You got it, Judy?
Read it. Sure, I'll give it to you, Tina. Tickets to area museums and parks are available to borrow, including the Empire Pass, Mohonk Preserve, Museum of Natural History, and the Intrepid. You can also set up a private walking history tour for your group with the help of Butterfield Library. Your group, class, or organization can tour the Butterfield Estate, Craigside, and history of the village of Cold Spring. Contact Jillian Thorpe to schedule. Also, due to popular demand, the library has added another power washer to their collection of yard tools that may be borrowed. And the library also has 2 twin camping cots and a queen-size air mattress that have been added to the library's camping and hiking collection, which may be borrowed for camping trips. Finally, the library is establishing a hiking club. Hikers and hike leaders are needed. If you are interested in learning more, please contact Jillian Thorpe at Butterfield Library.
Thank you, Judy. Cemetery Committee.
Okay, the Cemetery Committee met on May 19th. As we do each year, we worked in both the Mount Avenue Cemetery and the Cedar Street Cemetery, which is in the back. And with us to help us out this year again, one is the Girl Scout Troop 2144, which is located in the southern end of town. It's a part of Cortland and that part. Also, the Cub Scouts Pack 137. They're chartered by the Little Stony Point Citizens Association, and the Boy Scout Troop 437, and they are chartered by the Garrison Fish and Game Club. And I want to thank them very much for coming out again. This year we had the Girl Scouts, which we didn't have last year. It's besides putting out the flags, understanding why we do such to respect our veterans, but also to learn to pick up some history. Our cemeteries have tremendous history and can teach us an awful lot, and I think it was a very good learning process for them. We also have completed the work for this year in the Cedar Street Cemetery. If you haven't been by, take a ride by it. I think you'll be impressed at the changes that have occurred there just in the last few years. 20 additional stones were done. These required a lot of work. Some of the stones weighed 800 pounds. Basically, you have to get in there, and you can't work with big machines. You're using chain hoists and tripods. The work is difficult. You have a number of times you probably may have seen where they were digging actually in the ground because they have to put these down into deep foundations and so forth. So there quite a bit of work goes on, and for a reasonable price, I feel we get some great service, and I appreciate that. Also recommendations, what we're doing now is we're trying to clean some of the stones in the cemeteries, and we use basically D2 or simple green, or forget it, wet it and forget it, and we use soft brushes. But we've been able to start to clean up some graves, especially uncovering statements and so forth made, so that again, it helps us learn more and more about the history of our area. We also had a tree taken down thanks to Philipstown Tree, which was really endangering a lot of the work that was just done. So I'm very happy to see that tree's down before we have any big storms. And our next meeting is June 11th.
Thank you, Mike. Putnam County Legislator.
Nancy had another
Yeah, they have some type of
D-Day.
county awards.
county
Oh,
awards for veterans today.
Oh,
over
right.
there.
Well,
So
I can-
that was, I think, the same time as this meeting.
I can see that taking precedence.
Sure, especially on D-Day like today.
Yes. All right.
Roberta Muller to provide an update regarding the progress of the Climate Smart Communities program.
You all groomed up.
Yeah, I know. You look like a different guy here.
Didn't even recognize
I
me.
didn't recognize him either.
I feel like you look so handsome.
Oh, thank you.
Who's this boy?
You guys, do you have a copy?
We do have a copy.
So I'll try to be brief because I know there's a lot going on. So we've been doing a lot of work in the past couple of months, and just basically want to do a quick check-in to let you know what's going on, some of the successes we've had, work that's happening right now, and some plans for the next couple of months. The purpose of the Town of Philipstown Climate Smart Communities Task Force is to serve as a steering committee to the town board, and we meet each month, usually on the third Thursday at the Philipstown Rec Center from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Occasionally, we'll reschedule if we're in conflict with another event. And the meetings are open to the public, so anyone is welcome to come. So our first item, in collaboration with ICLEI, which they go by Local Governments for Sustainability, and the Ecological Citizens Project, which is based here in Philipstown. We are now about to distribute a community household greenhouse gas emissions survey, which will be out probably for about 2 months, to be gathered at the end of July, middle of August, and then to be analyzed for data and report preparation. And the goal of this is to essentially add data to what we've gathered from U.S. Census information on emissions levels caused by activities within Philipstown. And ICLEI and Ecological Citizens Project have been absolutely instrumental in terms of their expertise, their help raising money to help pay for this project, and also designing the survey. One of the members of the project is a professor of statistics, so her expertise has been obviously super important in terms of making sure that we're doing this the right way. And the survey will be available both online and in printed format, and will be distributed via our task force local outreach network, which there are many ways that we're going to get it out in the community.
I'm currently collaborating with the Hudson Highlands Land Trust and eventually with the Conservation Board on determining the best approach to possibly updating our natural resources inventory, which is a climate smart priority action, and for which we've already gotten some money via a grant from New York State. Also, I'm collaborating with the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee and the Philipstown Community Congress's Biking Walking Paths Committee to explore how to best develop a complete streets policy, which is also another climate smart priority action. We have received 4 quotes for completing energy audits on 5 of our government buildings: the Philipstown Rec Center, Continental Village Clubhouse, the Depot Theater, Aqueduct Road Pump Station, and the building department, also known as the Town Annex. The best quote has come from NYPA, New York Power Authority, at a total of $9,438.79. And we are now working on getting FlexTech, which is NYSERDA's Flexible Technical Assistant Program, grants to pay for up to 50% of this total cost. So hopefully lowering our cost to around $4,600, $4,700. And we should know within the next 2 or 3 months if we're approved for that funding. And now the exciting news, we have the results of our task force's electric vehicle charging station survey, and they are the following. So we did a survey online and in print, and we're able to get 261 responses from community members. 72% of respondents said that they would use public EV charging stations in Philipstown. 80% said that they support installing such stations in Philipstown even if they themselves wouldn't use them. And the top 5 choices for locations for such charging stations within Philipstown are: number 1, the Food Town parking lot. And we totaled points, so respondents were given 3 choices to rank their top 3. So they got 3 points for their first choice, 2 points for second choice, and 1 point for third, just to give a little more priority to their first choices. So Food Town parking lot, 194 points. Cold Spring Metro North parking lot, 191. Cold Spring Main Street, 185. Cold Spring Municipal parking lot, 160 points. And then Garrison Metro North parking lot, 60 points. There are also many other recommendations at much lower levels. I'm not going to list them all because it would take too long, but they're there on the report for your
I
information.
noticed Town Hall didn't even make top 10.
Unfortunately.
A little upset.
And I'd like to report, so we've actually had some success communicating with Metro North, with an owner of a property adjacent to Food Town. I won't name to maintain privacy, at least for now, while we're still trying to sort out some details. And also the Village of Cold Spring is now interested in taking on this project. So seemingly we should be able to move forward with it. The ironic holdup is that the state has not approved this round of funding yet for the program, although they're assuring us that it will happen. But literally on their website it just says stay tuned. So we'll be waiting. And that's our update.
Terrific. Roberto, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I can't thank you enough.
I just also wanted to congratulate Roberto and especially Putnam County Legislator Nancy Montgomery. Putnam County has taken the Climate Smart Communities Pledge, I believe, the legislature. So that was good news.
That is good news. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the letter of support for the 2019 Hudson River Estuary Program Grant Green Corridors, and this is non-pro-tunc.
So we've already executed this, so could I get a motion on the resolution authorizing me? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Okay, the next item is a resolution authorizing Tina Mirando to advertise a position available for an assistant code enforcement officer, and this is also non-pro-tunc.
Anyone with these qualifications should apply for this job. It'd be a great part-time job for a retiree, someone who's worked in buildings, but again, you have to be qualified. You've got to be certified as building inspector. But it's a great place to work, and it's interesting work. So I would urge someone to come forward.
And Greg would
You
be a
got-
super easy person to work
And
You got
Greg-
one resume so far that I saw, right?
Just
Yeah.
one.
Just the one.
So,
Doesn't get
but
any-
Greg Winter's a great guy to work with,
Yes,
yeah.
he is.
And you get to meet Bob. So we got 2 good guys with a wealth of experience too. So we're gonna get a motion authorizing the town clerk to advertise for that position.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Okay, the next item is a resolution authorizing Supervisor Shea to sign the parade permit for the Hope for Youth Foundation and waive the fees associated with said permit.
Okay, we're glad to do this. This is for a charitable organization, and all they need is a permit from us. So with that, could I get a motion on the resolution authorizing this permit and waiving the fees?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you, Roger, for your taking that on. That's a Roger Gorvik's initiative.
We skipped one, I think.
Yeah.
Did we skip the July 4th one?
Yeah, we did.
It's all right.
That's because I have my distance glasses on.
Want me to hold it over?
Okay, the next item is a resolution authorizing a donation in the amount of $500 to the Village of Cold Spring for the 4th of July celebration.
All right, we were approached by the board to ask to contribute to this. We do have monies in a celebration line. This will be the entire budget, but
Well, we've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years now anyway, so.
yeah, it's a good cause. I mean, it brings a lot to the village. So with that, could I get a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, Marie, there it goes. Marie Early.
Okay, the next item is to reschedule the July monthly meeting from July 4th to July 11th.
Is everybody okay with that?
I have a pre-existing commitment, but that's okay.
Okay,
So, July 11th, right?
July 11th, unless everybody wants to do it on the 4th.
That works for me. No, that's okay.
No, it's
Okay. All right, so we're changing the July meeting to the second Thursday, July 11th, 2019, 7:30. Be here, everybody. There's gonna be fireworks.
Did you want to do anything for next week?
Do you have anything for next week?
Well, I know, I talked to our Judge Tolman. He wanted to have a meeting with the court administrator. Unfortunately, he said next Wednesday wouldn't work for him.
All right,
So he was wondering if it's possible to meet during the day. So that's gonna be kinda tough to do. So I don't know when we can get it on the schedule, but it's concerning, moving where we're gonna go with the court and all the concerns and there's a lot of rules and regulations regarding that.
yeah.
So, he wants this lady to come in who's an attorney, and that's what she does.
Well, I mean, does it
So-
really require the whole board?
No, I don't know if it does require the whole board. You want me to just try to meet with him myself?
Yeah, and if
try to
you get
work
a
out?
date, I could swing over
Okay,
maybe
let me see what I can work
two
out
of
then.
us. Yep.
All right.
So other than that, we have nothing.
Okay, the next item is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report. The fees collected, $25,688. Total numbers of permits issued, 39. One new one or two family dwelling, one new multifamily occupancies, 6 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 1 addition, alteration, or repairs to commercial building, 32 all other permits, pools, sheds, decks, plumbing, HVAC, etc., 30 COs issued, 4 stop work orders issued, 1 permit issued for the use of pyrotechnic devices, and that's for Lake Surprise.
Fireworks.
Yeah. 4 inspections of public assembly and 2 inspections of commercial occupancies. He makes a note here, please take time to secure your pool when opening. Please contact the building office. We will help you make it a safe swim season. Okay, now is the report for the Village of Cold Spring. In total fees collected, $1,050. 6 permits issued. 5 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings. 1 all other permits, pools, sheds, decks, plumbing, HVAC, etc. 3 certificates of occupancy issued. 1 stop work order, and 1 operating permit issued.
Anything else from the board?
Just one request I got from the building department. They got a couple bids for a new printer copier. Anyway, I just want to bring it up. He asked me to bring it up to the board tonight, so I'm doing that. I do have two bids here, and we can discuss them at another time, but just wants me to make sure everyone was aware of it.
What kind of money are we talking?
Not too bad. It's like between $126 a month and $156 a month roughly for 60 months. As you can see, the building department does pretty good with their fees, so I mean, I think that we can
Cover it.
justify it
Yeah.
with these fees here. But anyway, you want me to make sure I brought up at the meeting tonight, so that's what I'm doing.
Well,
Okay?
I'll talk to him about it, and I'll sit down with Sue, but I think you're right. I think we
Yeah, we're going to the copier printer they have is the oldest one we ever had in this building that we bought outright about 3 or 4 years ago when we renewed the contracts, and we put it over there, so it's old. We do have the maintenance on it, but it's probably time. It's at the end of its life.
I'd also like to get color because it's a lot more helpful
Right.
when you have color prints, when you get building prints and things like that. It does
But the
help
quote-
you.
Sure. And the quotes here, you have to pay so much per copy for black and white and so much per color as well. So, but it's all, I got the proposal right here.
All right.
The
Thanks.
Recreation Commission is seeking candidates. They did receive one application, but they also, the commission asked if we might place another ad to get more applicants for the Recreation Commission. And if anyone is interested, please let us know. They do have one candidate, but they'd like to look at a few more resumes.
Let's authorize the town clerk to advertise for another position now then. So, could I get a motion to authorize the town clerk to run an ad for the Recreation Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Anything else from the board?
I have something to add.
Yes.
We have 2 filming permits that we need to authorize you to sign. One is, they actually filmed today, and it's Nunc Pro Tunc.
Okay. So could I get a motion authorizing me to sign a film permit, Nunc Pro Tunc? Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye.
Okay, and the second one is going to be, the print couldn't get any smaller. It's going to be on the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're going to use farm props, there's no building, and expecting light film and photo gear. You know, I can't find where it is.
We collect the fee?
No, we didn't. No, actually, we didn't on this one.
Really?
Oh, send out the goons.
There's no address on that one.
Don't make me send Bobby and John out. You'll be making a different kind of film.
So we just need a motion for you to sign.
All right, can I get a motion authorizing me to sign the film permit?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? I vote aye. So Tina, you'll find out more details about that, and we'll get the
Yes.
fee.
Or put my reading glasses on and find out.
Or your magnifying glass with that one, yeah. Anything from the audience? Kim? Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is
If you could come up to the microphone.
Thank you, sirs. My name is Bahar Barami. I reside on 53 Peekskill Road. After I just bought the house when I was still working in Boston and in Cambridge, so I wasn't quite familiar with the condition of Peekskill Road. I have two serious concerns about Peekskill Road. One has to do with the speed of the vehicles, passenger vehicles, all vehicles going. I have contacted Sheriff Langley and Deputy Sheriff Tolvey, and they have told me that they have measured through video monitoring, and the speed is 37. Average speed is 37. So they cannot take any action about seriously pursuing violators of speed. But there is a second related concern that I have, which I would like to explain. And I was told that by the sheriff that the county does not address the mix of vehicles, only the compliance with the speed limit, which is 30 miles per hour. So the second concern, related concern I have, is a heavy mix of commercial vehicles on Peekskill Road. And that's the damage from that high-speed commercial vehicle is even really more damaging, worse than the passenger vehicles. And I was told that the Philipstown board can authorize, because Peekskill Road is a county road, they only Philipstown town can authorize limiting the number of commercial vehicles crossing, or just restricting that. So these are my two concerns. I am meeting with Sheriff Langley and Deputy Sheriff Tolvey, and I have sent letters to Ms. Farrell and to Mr. Supervisor Shia. So I would like your favorable action for my concerns.
I received your communication via email about a month ago, and at that time I had forwarded it on to County Legislator Montgomery, who sits on the Traffic Safety Board.
Correct.
So she's obviously involved at this point. It's sort of counterintuitive to hear that the sheriff would say a county road is under the purview of the town of Philipstown, because we have no purview on that road. But barring that, it's been a perennial problem since the road went in, literally for 75 years.
Really?
Yes. It goes back, to Logan's father.
Yeah, well, that's.
And I mean, the fact that you have, that's the only crossover besides going through the village to get from 90 to 9 or 301. So it's one of these intractable problems. Just in saying even if we had the authority to go ahead and say, look, we're not going to have we're going to place a weight limit on this, we can't have tractor trailers rolling into that just shifts them going through the village. There's no way that we can say you can't have a tractor trailer coming up a state road, which is 90 or Route 9 and Route 301. So it's just a really, really difficult problem. I'm not saying that we haven't tried. We've tried to lower the speed limit on that road. We've tried to get a weight restriction on that road, but we don't have purview on that road. It's not a town road, it's a county road. So for the sheriff to say that the county can't do anything about it, to me, it's counterintuitive. In order to lower the speed limit on a road like that, the county would have to petition the state.
And it's been attempted.
At the county.
I used to be on the Traffic Safety Board, and with Doug Logan, we've met on that site with State DOT, the former sheriff, the residents, or the mayor of Village of Nelsonville, because it's also a portion of it's in Nelsonville, and the town. And that we couldn't come up with a solution. The problem is, like Richard said, truck traffic coming up 9D, if they don't take 403 to get to 9, they cannot navigate the turn at 9D and 301 down here. So the trucks take it through Peekskill Road. There was a problem with the bridge before, and when the trucks used to hit the bridge, it literally would shake Doug Logan's house, which is basically attached to the bridge. So the county did spend quite a bit of money to repair the bridge, to eliminate the bump that was there. And I haven't heard from Doug, because I used to hear regularly from Doug about it.
Called me a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
but I also contacted Sheriff Langley as well. He told me the exact same thing. He went back and went through his records and the monitor system that he have. He says he does not see a lot of speeding going on that road, as he indicated to you as well.
Right.
I did report back to Doug Logan and that as well. I told him the same thing, because he's the one that called me, and it was probably like 3 weeks ago.
I have spoken to Douglas Logan, and he told me that he's willing to start again a petition drive I guess you all know him, he's been around, his grandkid, grandfathers and father and so on.
The
So-
state DOT had even attempted to create 90 403 to 9 as a truck route. And I don't know where that ever went, but I'm no longer on that board. But the DOT was working also with Waze and MapQuest and all those companies to not promote Peekskill Road as a cutoff between 9D and 9. So,
And no success, yeah. Anything I can do on these two angles, two threads of
Well, I
both
would,
the
you know,
speed
if you-
and commercial vehicle mix.
I would, next time you talk to Sheriff Langley, ask him to put a patrol car there once in a while and see. You know, typically you could ask him that and say, hey, you know, even though your records don't indicate this, once in a while it can't hurt to put a patrol car there
Right.
and see if you get some speeding tickets. We could use some more different revenue here in the village, in
Right.
town for speeding tickets. So if it's, you know, I would ask him to do that. I mean, I asked him as well, but if it maybe comes from you, maybe he'll
Yeah.
do a little
Deputy
bit.
Sheriff Tolvey is actually, I've seen him monitoring the speed limit. It's just that they say legally they cannot because the overspeed is only 7 miles per hour. Is it possible to reduce it to say 20?
it's been attempted before, and it was rejected.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing, we tried to get the speed limit reduced on 9D, on Route 9, and the state DOT has rejected it. I
Really?
think it's at 30, correct, now? I
It's
think that's
30
the
now.
minimum you could put on a public road. Other than a village street, you can lower, but
think
that's
it
not
is.
a village street, it's a county road.
Is it
I think
counting?
it's
Yeah.
30 miles an hour, Joe.
Yeah, 30 currently, right, yeah. I think that's the
Yeah,
lowest
sure
it can
what
be
it is.
put at.
I mean, we have some major issues on 9D. All the hikers, we've tried to get that speed limit reduced. I mean, you got very tragic situations there on 9D every single weekend. They don't want to do anything about reducing the speed there either.
That's
So-
been an effort for 30 years.
We attempted 9D by the Garrison schools, and that was rejected by the state DOT. 'Cause, well, you know, and the engineers come up with all these reasons. It increases noise if you slow the cars down. It increases pollution because the cars are spending more time. So this is why it's rejected.
Sorry, we don't have,
I'm a jogger, and I used to jog on 9D,
Right.
and then Peekskill Road. And now I don't jog on 9D. It is rather dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
But Peekskill Road, I have no options, no alternatives
Right.
to jogging on Peekskill. And the cemetery won't let you go in and run there either. But anyway,
You should be able to go in the cemetery and run as long as it's not after dark.
yeah, well, you have to go about half a mile from my house to the cemetery.
well.
But anyway, that's a minor issue. The thing is that both the speed and also the mix from my house, when I'm sitting in my house. When I bought the house, I was in Boston, so I wasn't aware of the mix of traffic and so on. So it's unfortunate, but then I'm very, very happy that you have all been so adaptive and to have listened to me. I appreciate that. You have all been great. Both the,
Thank you. I'm sorry we
sheriff's
don't have
office-
better news for you, but it's
Yeah.
just one of those intractable situations.
Okay.
But we have succeeded in lowering the speed. People used to speed through there, and the trucks used to. There was a lot more truck traffic at one time. I mean, all those Kennedy trucks went through there all the time. So there has been a reduction in those also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kennedy must not be in business there, because I don't even see those trucks.
I don't see them now. I'm going to recognize Kim Connor.
This is the book I promised you a couple of months ago
Mhm.
on solar. It's a guide. It's NYSERDA guidelines for writing legislation for local governments related to solar, community solar, blah blah blah, solar, all kinds of solar.
Right.
So, I brought it.
Well,
Here it
thank you.
is.
Thank you.
I'm going to hand it to Bobby first, since he's spearheading this effort.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Yes, sir.
I'm Shay Spencer. I've sent an email to a couple in there. May I approach and give you a
Yes,
few of these?
please. Mhm.
have been about this.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I have a more in-depth PowerPoint I can get to anybody that has all the video links, which I think illustrates the issue much better.
So is this something you'd like to set up a workshop for?
I'm sorry, I am new at this. Tell me whatever the
Yeah,
right
in my
procedure.
email to you, I said, well,
Yeah.
you can come tonight to present to
Sure.
the board, and then we would like to, have your own, a workshop that we usually held on Wednesdays.
Okay.
So, if you have a PowerPoint presentation you want to bring with us,
Sure.
do that as well.
Yeah.
But we would entertain trying to get you on the agenda whenever we're available for a workshop next Wednesday or whatever.
I'll
I
take
don't know if
anything
that
you
works
got.
for everybody.
Anytime.
But
Yeah, we could do next Wednesday.
could
If you
do
want to
next-
give a brief overview of your effort here, and then we
Sure.
could schedule an evening.
I would really appreciate that.
Yes,
yeah.
that'd be great.
For starters, I really regret not coming to you guys about 2.5 years ago. It was my understanding when this serious issue, which is, I guess my home has a unique perspective of actually seeing what's going on at this property, where everyone else around me is just hearing it or smelling it. And I can actually document regularly, which I've been doing whenever it comes up, weekends, anytimes, to videoing the activity. I've been in that home for 5 years, and in about 2 years in, 2017, it radically changed the activity at the property.
What's your address?
I'm 40 High Ridge at the end,
High Ridge.
right next to the judge, yeah. And so when the activity, there was no issues before, nobody had anything to say about it, before, and I didn't either. And then about 2 years ago, in the summer of 2017, it seems that he took on some more subleases for tenants, which one of them being Garrison Tree, and I don't know the name of the other one, that's the gravel pit. And so the noise radically increased for everyone at all hours, weekends, early morning, you name it. It's large, heavy machinery, beeps, backing up, throwing huge, chunks of anything around all day. And there's nowhere you can go to hide in your home from it at all. It's as if somebody has an alarm clock set off somewhere in your home. You can't get away from it. You can't go outside, something. And if you do have an unfortunate visual, I have some stills in there you can see. Yeah, they're smelting things, or who knows where that smoke's coming from, or whatever it is. So we reached out and were quickly rebuked to say, go away. We have permission, and we're zoned for this here. We can grind rocks all we want. Go away. And, so all of us in the community, we talked, and you're like, oh gosh, and we have an email chain going on because, of course, we fix roads and all that stuff. And I got elected to do this because I've reached out for you before to try to make some sound improvements and stuff. So they elected me to reach out, and quickly shut down, and I took it, and it was fine. And I took their word for it that they were zoned for this. So it got worse and worse, and it goes on all the time. Holiday weekends, you name it, it goes on. And so then we retained counsel. We started reaching out just through that of just, hey, let's talk, let's open a dialogue, and please try to, we all live here, because obviously the overview of that is it's the only commercially zoned thing. It's surrounded by at least 50 homes that we've all knocked on doors and are talked to, and there's a gravel pit and a tree grinding operation in the middle of great, beautiful, amazing homes. And there's nothing else there. There isn't so much as a corner store anywhere near that. So we reached out through council and said, hey, can we open a dialogue? Nobody ever got back. Other people's council reached out, touched base, never heard anything. So started to spend money, and for the last 6 months started preparing a civil suit because didn't really know what else to do. And it's our homes. And I brought my mother here, who lives with me, and she lives there full time, not just on the weekends. And she has health concerns, and we work our lives for these homes. And who would volunteer to live next to a gravel pit and a tree grinding operation? That's crazy. So spent a lot of money preparing a full-fledged civil suit, gave him one last notice that this is coming next week. And yep, Mr. Paul Hemus, who I'm sure is a lovely man and everything else, and he reached back to my council directly himself and spoke to them on the phone and said, I don't want to be sued, I don't have the money for it, I don't want to do that. And in his words, how can I be a better neighbor again? No, or how can I return to being a good neighbor? Great. So we outlined, look, we got to deal with this noise, the weekends, all this stuff. And he seemed to try and make some adjustments. But what was apparent through our discovery process, and my attorney spending almost a full day going through the documents here in town, discovered that this was brought up before, and he applied for this rock crushing operation and all the reasons why it would be okay and it would be away and no one would hear it, and he would pay, as I understand the law is, he has to pay for the engineers to decide that it's okay. And my attorney, and to this day can't find when it was approved and that it's okay to do, and they spent there and they still were not able to find any level of clarity on what he's actually allowed to do now. And so, again, nobody wants to fight with anybody, and gave him the benefit of the doubt. And what I truly think is he doesn't want to bother anybody, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be sued, and I don't want to sue anybody. But I think, if you can tell from those photos, which I'm trying to illustrate, is it's such a sprawling operation now, he can't control it. I think he wants them to stop making noise. But sure enough, last weekend, and the weekend before, and Thursday morning, or whatever it is, some other guy that didn't get the message to not go smashing stuff in the middle of the afternoon, he can't put the genie back in the bottle. And I don't understand how that could possibly be okay in a community that, we obviously really care about, the quality of life here. And something like this just seems clearly out of bounds, and sort of throw myself at your mercy on this. That's it.
So full disclosure, I work with Charlie Polhemus on a regular basis,
Sure,
being in construction. I know him. We've known him, our whole lives. Polhemus has been here forever. Having said that, I can understand your concerns. I mean, fundamentally, is it just an hours of operation, or is it a range of operations, or what would you say that it is?
Every bit of that. I think, the points in that document are made by my attorney, that it just clearly is outside anything. And I know very well that Mr. Polhemus has been on that property for 100 years. I know all of these things, and that was shoved in my face early on. Go away. I've been here 100 years.
You're right.
Oh, okay, but I pay taxes too, and I'm really proud of my community, and I've worked my life to save for this house and provide for my mother.
Right.
And I can't defend my home. So I don't want it to turn into this, but it will.
Right.
Very shortly. I can't go through a number of stuff in like a summer like this with my mother, and we can't even escape. So the answer is, we try to kind of curtail it to the weekend. He just can't. I understand, he's a nice guy. He just can't. Just a picture in front of anybody would tell you that's just nuts to have around a bunch of houses. It doesn't make any sense. If you had a tree nursery or, anything, I don't have a problem with the guy making money. It's just crushing rock and grinding full trees in the middle of homes. And I hear children playing, I hear dogs, and then that all the time. So that's my issue.
And you say all the time, and weekends also?
Yeah, I have documented evidence for weekends for the last 2-3 years. Sure. And I'm sure he's trying to stop it now, but up last weekend, video evidence, he can't stop it. I'm sure he wants to. Nobody wants to fight with him.
Salt Lake, we're Monday to Friday during normal business hours where, he has operated this business forever. It wouldn't be as offensive to you. And it would be.
Well, I don't know. We're all going to discuss that. I originally asked for that. Can we at least cut it out at night or on the weekends? I got video of me sitting there in crushed. You spent your money, to buy this house. Memorial Day weekend. It's a Sunday. It's 7:30. Beep. Crush. I don't know what else to do. I can't see, and I understand he's been there for a while. I still don't see in the documentation where he really is allowed to do this. He maybe is doing it, but under what circumstances would that be allowed? And if he's trying to make money, he's obviously inherited millions of dollars of riverfront property, and he could parcel off a piece to a lucky homeowner and open up rock crushing and gravel anywhere else that would be totally appropriate for that. I don't want to hurt anyone, and he's, I really want us all to get along. So, I'm happy to do anything you guys want. I have, hundreds of videos and everything else, and I've knocked on every door, and they've gotten back to me, and we have a whole thing going on, and I can't imagine a single thing I care about more than this. So that's it.
I can understand. Definitely, you're being home and trying to enjoy the quality of a residential life is something everybody deserves. So I think we could sit down with Greg for starters and probably bring Charlie in and say, what's going on. I mean, just to try to head off.
Yeah.
Just to try to get this done on a voluntary basis, get some cooperation.
I only learned about the various zone, those meeting minutes that are well documented there from after I spent some money on the attorneys. Like, wait, I should just talk to my community about this. I don't. Who wants
Yeah,
to
it's the
who
first-
wants to sue your neighbor?
First we're hearing of the effort or any of this.
And that's my fault. I literally took their word for it and said, you're right. I just have to try and fight through
that
this.
approach, see if we can get
Yeah,
Craig and
definitely.
Charlie. And
Would
get
you be
them
willing
together.
to meet with Charlie?
I've reached out to him a number of times because you'll see in there's a letter that went around the community. We ran out of letters. There's so many more houses right around him than you can imagine. I've emailed him directly. Hey, just a simple conversation, but
So you're like the spokesperson for the group that's.
yeah, you bet.
You seem like you're very reasonable.
I want to be, but then in the end, when you realize that the community itself, right there, raised literally every single point I'm saying in those meetings, and then what happened, and that he's been doing it a long time, that's not going to hold up in court. I don't. It's almost like I'm asking you to save him from the situation he's in, because I don't want to pulverize him with lawsuits.
Relatively fairly new, I think, right? Really? The last few years, I think.
Yeah, no, Josh, Monix, it's you can check the date, whenever he opened up that part, which is right on the road, of course, and then the tree, it's almost like everybody's kind of like, oh, you're doing it, well, I'll do it, and then like, it doesn't matter anymore. So I'll do anything I can possibly do before we get to that. But I've already spent the money to get to that part, and I don't mind people knowing that.
That's a good idea, Richard.
Yeah, so why don't we first start by broaching the subject with Charlie Polhemus and the building inspector and saying, look, and then it would be helpful if we came up with some parameters. There are hours of operation, obviously. There are regulations to noise and dust and all those items also. So I think that would be a good start to try to get it to a point where he can continue to have his business, but it's not impacting the quality of life to the level that we're seeing or hearing from you.
I'm happy for any conversation. In the meantime, I do want to see from the zoning board exactly what he has approved. My attorney was unable,
His site plan.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly
site
what he
plan
zoned and approved
dates.
and how that meeting and those questions were resolved on a legal level, because nobody can seem to find that paperwork. So again, that he's been doing it, and it just kind of scooted away, and nobody. And then when he amped it up, then of course, then it becomes torture. And there's some people, obviously, my neighbors, that are right there, the judge and everybody. They've been there 50 years, and talking like, is this? You guys have been here, is this weird? And like, yeah, I guess it is, because nobody even almost wants to acknowledge that this is happening to you, because what are you going to do?
Right, it puts you in an uncomfortable position.
It couldn't be more uncomfortable.
Yes.
And, my commitment to, again, my mother and myself and my family, and we didn't inherit any millions of dollars of property. My mom worked 2 jobs.
Well, I mean, that's.
But
I
my
don't want to
point
go
is
into
this.
that. I
We
mean,
worked our life in somebody's home. I mean, I don't know what else. It's it's everything
Yeah.
you got, and that's how much I care. So,
Yep, and they live there also.
and I quite understand that.
Yep. So, all right. Well, we'll reach out to him and sit down with Greg and come up with something and get it on paper, and then meet with you
Okay, anytime.
and then say, look, here are some things that we're, as a starting measure, that we can work on.
Okay. Is there someone I should follow up with just to let me know my next
You can follow up
steps?
with me. I'm at the supervisor's office.
Terrific.
So you can call
I'll
here and
reach out
email
and-
me, and I'll respond. But I'll let you know.
Thank you. I
what's
really
going on.
appreciate
Would it be
your time.
helpful if you sent me an email so I have your contact information?
I'll 100% do that.
Yes.
And thank you again for your time. I know it's a weird subject, and
No, not at all.
I understand
Not
you're
at
friends
all.
with
No,
him,
you-
and I'm
it's
a little on the outside. and I
Completely appropriate.
appreciate that.
Believe me, we want to hear from people, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Vacancies, Recreation Commission, as we said earlier. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Highway.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Continental Village Park District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Conner Village Water District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming out.